Hello, my name is Betty Scott Noble. I am a descendant of the Scott family. We'd like to welcome you to our program which highlights the 100-year relationship between our church and Columbia Theological Seminary. The seminary moved to Decatur in 1925. Colonel George Washington Scott's son, George Booker Scott, gave land for the seminary, and Colonel Scott also gave land for Decatur Presbyterian Church. They were both members of our church. The seminary is located on Columbia Drive in Decatur on 57 acres of land. Let's take a look at some of the buildings. The John Bulow Campbell Library, built in 1927, operates as an educational institution of the Presbyterian Church. Here we see the Harrington Chapel, the Harrington Center for Continuing Education, and the Simmons Law Residence Hall. Columbia is distinguished by a faculty of the highest quality and character that represent a variety of Christian traditions. Initially, bachelor degrees were issued for many years. By the early 70s, master's degrees were awarded, and in the 80s, doctoral degrees were issued. Here are some of the many church members that have served throughout the years. Davison Phillips, the minister at our church for 21 years, was president of the seminary from 1976 to 1986. Cecil Moore worked there for 40 years as superintendent of the grounds and maintenance, and his wife, Sadira Moore, was the longtime dietitian. My father, Phil Noble, graduated from the seminary and served on the Board of Trustees for 26 years. Many staff members and trustees have been members of our church. We have assisted the seminary with the use of our sanctuary in order to live stream several baccalaureate programs, including the inauguration of Reverend Dr. Victor Aloyo. Let's hear from some Decatur Presbyterian members and staff about their experiences with the seminary.
I served on the staff at Columbia Theological Seminary in the office of the president for 12 years. Among my favorite memories of working there are working with the Board of Trustees, spending time and getting to know the amazing faculty and spending time with the students. I remember Emily and Drew and Tully when they were students there. And I remember a wonderful variety of CTS students who were assigned to Decatur Presbyterian Church to do their internships. In fact, DPC and interns just went together. I also have great joy in remembering the camaraderie of the staff, how we enjoyed working together, both in our own departments and also as we shared work in other departments. The years that I worked at Columbia Seminary were very special to me, and I am grateful to both the seminary and to God for the memories that I have.
I will forever be grateful for my experience at Columbia. It is because of my experience in an internship with Columbia that I'm actually here at Decatur Presbyterian Church. After graduation, I had been applying for jobs and none of them had connected yet. I landed on a vacation with Drew in California and found out the job I'd been pursuing for months I didn't get. So throughout the week, I felt sad and disheartened and unsure about what was going to happen next. And then on the way to the airport back home, I get a call from Allison Schaaf, who was our former youth director here at Decatur Pres. She asked me if I was still looking for a job, and I quickly responded, absolutely. And it was there that I began the conversation with Todd and others on the children's ministry team, and I became the director of children's ministries and later the pastor for children and their families. I'm so grateful for my internship at another church that connected me to Allison and in turn connected me to this wonderful church at Decatur Pres.
Hi, I'm Pastor Tully, and I graduated from Columbia Seminary in 2008. I have very fond memories of my time there as a student. When I began here on staff at DPC in 2021, I was immediately impressed with the number of seminary staff and faculty who worship here on a regular basis. I will admit, the first time I preached in the pulpit, I looked up into the balcony and I saw George Stroup sitting there, and I was pretty nervous. But I think, preachers being intimidated aside, having seminary staff involved in a congregation and in the pews is a really wonderful thing. People who can teach Sunday school, who can give their wisdom, and who can preach on occasion. It's really important, and I'm really glad to be part of a church that has such a great relationship with Columbia Theological Seminary.
Decatur Presbyterian Church has had a 100-year history of being a neighbor with Columbia Theological Seminary. For the last 66 years, my family has had a formal relationship with the seminary. First my dad, then my sister, and then myself. We've all had some kind of formal relationship, whether being a student or serving on staff or the Board of Trustees. 44 of the last 66 years, my family's had a somewhat formal relationship with the seminary. In the frame picture behind me, there's a picture of Campbell Hall in the snow. It was given to Dr. Phillips, our former pastor here at the church, and at the time the retiring president of the seminary. And one of the students who signed that picture was my sister, Sarah Speed. When I finished my doctor of ministry degree in May of 2007, Decatur Presbyterian Church was looking for a pastor. And people at the seminary kept telling me, "Todd, you need to talk to Decatur Presbyterian Church." And people at the seminary were telling the people at the church, "Y'all need to talk to this Todd Speed who's graduating with his D-Min." And that conversation happened, and the rest is history, I suppose. We've been here 17 and a half years. It's been a great joy and privilege to be the pastor of this church and a close partner with the seminary. Of my 17 years here at the church, I had the good fortune of serving on a search committee for one of the presidents of the seminary, Steve Hayner, wonderful man. And also during that 17 years, 10 of those years, I've served on the Board of Trustees of the seminary. And during those 17 years, I've had the wonderful privilege and joy of supervising some 36 seminary interns, including this year's interns, Rachel Lee and Guillermo Pires. Today, my wife and I live only a quarter mile from the seminary, and part of our regular walks or jogs through the neighborhood include going through the beautiful campus of Columbia Theological Seminary. And over the years, members of the faculty and staff have been some of my closest and dearest friends, confidants, and colleagues.
There continues to be a strong partnership between our church and the seminary. I'm so proud of my family's involvement over the years.